We are in Charlotte, North Carolina, the Queen City. The ACC tournament is back, and we are ready for semifinal number 2. The Duke Blue Devils meet the Syracuse Orange, second meeting of the season between these two. Syracuse beat Duke in a midweek tilt in the regular season. The Blue Devils, led by a generational talent in Brennan O'Neill. He is the reigning Tewaaraton Award winner. Syracuse on the sidelines has the greatest of all time, the great Gary Gait, who has returned his alma mater to prominence. Earlier today, Notre Dame vaporized Virginia 18-9. Fighting Irish, the 1 seed, undefeated in conference play, the defending national champion. They'll get the winner of Duke-Syracuse in the ACC championship on Sunday. Good evening, Anish, Shroff. Matt Ward, Marilyn Payne is down on the sideline. Notre Dame, wow, in caps lock earlier tonight. This game, hard to get a read on. With Duke, we know how talented they are. We know how capable they are. They've just been inconsistent. If they put it together, this team can dogpile on Memorial Day.
It's hard to say this after watching what Notre Dame just did, but on paper, talent-wise, Duke's unmatched in my opinion, right? What they have, the attack, the midfield, and the defensive end, it's just scary on paper. But what team shows up? Because there's been a few matchups where they just didn't appear, and one of them was against the Syracuse team. And so they're going to have to rely on the best player in college lacrosse, Brennan O'Neill, right? Or most skilled at this point, right? Like what he can do is unmatched from an athleticism perspective. The skill obviously is there with the behind-the-back prowess. Again, like at times he can kind of disappear, right? And oftentimes it's the way their offense is set up. But if I'm Coach Danowski, Coach Matt Danowski, the offensive coordinator, he is touching the ball, goal line extended or below every single possession, because he is going to be the difference maker for this team if they're going to find their best lacrosse.
He's in the home stretch of his career. We know the talent. He's the reigning Tewaaraton Award winner, but in Duke's 4 losses this year, 6 for 44 shooting. For Syracuse, preseason narrative, are they back? Well, they're number 3 in the country, and in conference play, the Canadian Owen Hiltz was their best offensive player.
Yeah, he's been the MVP of this offense all year. He has found his shooting range, and this is new, right? Like his ability now to take the ball to the cage and sweep to his strong left hand has added a dimension to his game, and guess what? He's very good at finding space in this Syracuse offense. Its strength is ball movement, and if they can find him in space, they're pretty good. They're 5th in the country, 15 goals a game.
Marilyn Payne is with Gary Gait.
You told me you used the extra week off before game week to focus on the biggest changes you guys needed to make tonight. What's the focus?
The focus is, just cleaning up our game. Probably riding and clearing was the biggest thing. We just wanted to really be ready and clean it up and make sure that our stick work was sharp and everything. And then we took this week to really focus on Duke and what they're going to do and what we think they're going to do and how we react if they do something different.
Appreciate the time. Good luck out there.
All right, thank you.
Syracuse not only coming off a bye, they've only played 2 games in the last 30 days. Duke missing a key piece. Face-off man, All-American Jake Naso out for the tournament with a lower body injury. Cal Gerard took the opening face-off, and the Blue Devils gained possession. They go to work. Duke last time out at Chapel Hill. A stunning loss to North Carolina. Final score was 15-12, but Duke at one point in the 4th quarter trailed by 9 goals. They invert Andrew McAdory, Gerard setting the pick, and Will Mark comes up with a save for Syracuse. He's the NCAA's active leader in saves. Aiden Dinenzo running with the first midfield, 88 in black. Now it's Josh Zawada, grad transfer from Michigan, where he left school as the Wolverines' all-time leading scorer. And now the freshman Ben Johnston. Brennan O'Neill, first touch over to McAdory. Those two were high school teammates. McAdory's got a quick first step. Zawada dodges from up top. Fires on the run, hits the crossbar. I said it earlier, Post Malone is in town. Big music festival here in Charlotte.
I'm trying to get my bearings here, but a lot of Duke's attackmen, at least in this initial set, at least initially were way up almost playing as midfielders in the invert offense, which you don't see for Duke very often.
And you see a little bit of a new wrinkle on the first midfield. McAdory, Denenza, and Johnston. No Max Sloat, the redshirt freshman, not on the unit. He's been on that unit most of the season. Denenza gets the bump up. Here's Johnston. Zawada comes up with it. Fresh 60 for Duke. Long possession here, and now we'll get a whistle. I wonder if they're going to say it's a fresh 80 because Syracuse gained possession.
The ball never hit the goalie. We do not have a reset. The previous play is under review to get the shot clock correct.
So the ball didn't hit the goalie. The shot clock resets on a shot on goal, which means it hits the pipe or it hits the goalie or it obviously goes in. Officials today, Peter Buchanan, Dan Bennett, Jim Lafredo. Now this Duke team got to the national championship game last year. Preseason #2. We saw what Brennan O'Neill did in San Diego at the World Games, where he was the MVP as the only collegiate player. And here is another look.
Looks like it hit McAdory's right arm. And a nice job by the officials getting that right and taking the time here to recalculate how much time the Blue Devils will have to operate on the offensive end.
Now, does Figueres ever gain possession? Because if he does, then that's a fresh 80. It looked like the ball went in his stick, but was it long enough?
After review, please reset the shot clock to 23 seconds. It will be Duke's ball. 23 seconds on the shot clock, please. 23.
Peter Buchanan letting us know the shot clock will reset to 23.
His younger brother was a defenseman on my 2006 Virginia team, Pat Buchanan.
Pretty good team, undefeated.
We had Pete calling a lot of our games, so it was helpful.
You could say that now. How long have you been waiting to say that? 15 to shoot. O'Neill, marked by Billy Dwan. O'Neill was 2 for 12 shooting in the first meeting against Syracuse. And the Blue Devils strike first. It's Dyson Williams, career goal number 196. He and Brennan O'Neill both closing in on 200 career goals.
And a very deliberate, nice offensive set for the Blue Devils. Created some opportunities early on, and then there, as the shot clock is counting down, kind of a nice Mumbo type play where Dyson Williams starts in the crease and fills to the backside. Not many players can throw that cross pass running towards the sideline and throw it all the way across the defense with accuracy and pace like Brennan O'Neill did there. Again, and for Brennan O'Neill, a very evenly balanced player. I do think he's more prone to take the shot than be a feeder first, but showing there that he has the chops as the quarterback for the offense as well.
Dyson Williams was held without a point the first time these two teams met. It's the only time in the last 2 seasons that he's gone without a goal in a game. And when he eats and he's scoring, that's a product of good team offense. Here's Charles Balsamo.
I may want to start a petition that you're not allowed to use black mesh in college lacrosse. Just not, in my opinion, not a great look.
Hard to see the numbers, huh? McAdory turns the corner. And Duke already halfway to its tally against Syracuse the first time out.
And right now, McAdory, if you look at this, he's playing attack, right? So #2, their best offensive midi, the first couple possessions has been an attackman, starting goal line extended. They're running Dyson Williams out of the box. A change-up look, and again, right there, they got 2 goals in 42 seconds. McAdory with a nice take, bending the corner. And again, the key there is taking that extra step increasing your angle, and I love the fact that he keeps this to the top portion of the cage. The tendency as an offensive player is to drop your hands and shoot it 3/4 low. McAdory with a nice placement up high.
Duke has connected on 2 of its first 4 shots. Girard wins the faceoff. Flag down. John Mullen, the freshman, taking that draw.
Number 36, push, 30 seconds.
So Duke will have the extra man, 42% on the EMO this season. John Mullen, you can see it clear as day. Girard had possession, push from the back.
Hands right up the back, and if you go to the ground, they're going to call that a push every single time. Duke playing with some good energy. Again, this is a Jekyll or Hyde type team. They've had some games where they just haven't shown up. But when they play with energy and they play with confidence, man, are they talented and fun to watch.
Zawada over to O'Neal. Syracuse's man-down defense, it's a wholesale line change. The Junkyard Dogs. O'Neal thought about it. Zawada, step down, rocket. Yes, sir.
Duke doing their best Notre Dame impression on the man up. Nice ball movement, patient offense. The pass to Denenza in the crease, who gets it out quickly to O'Neal. And rather than O'Neal taking the shot, he makes the one more pass to Zawada, who can take a couple steps in to get his hands free, and the nice placement to the low left portion of the cage.
Second assist for Brennan O'Neal, 98 helpers for his career. Zawada, an all-ACC selection. Face-off violation, and Syracuse has yet to touch the ball.
4 for 4. Jake Naso not in the game. Oh, that's a concern. Maybe not. And again, who knows? Hopefully Naso gets healthy, but this is good experience for the depth of your face-off unit. Syracuse, a very talented team at the X.
We got the sense from John Danowski that keeping Naso out this weekend was more precautionary. He's taken more than 1,600 face-offs in his career. A lot of mileage, dealing with a lower body injury. They want him at his best next weekend onwards. Duke right now firing on all cylinders. McAdory second. Duke is 4 for 6 shooting, Matt. When they played Syracuse back in March, they shot 4 for 36 for the game.
And you can see Coach Gate nodding his head. Credit Duke with the wrinkle. McAdory played attack all last season. Was predominantly a midfielder all year. And I think they found something here. He is their fastest player, a dynamic athlete with the ability to play from the midfield and attack. I like it. You get Dyson Williams coming out of the box. He's going to have a short stick on him potentially, because I don't think you pull him in the midfield, and so he's going to be dynamic off ball, right? And you're going to get 3 Dodgers that you're going to have to slide, or they're going to make you pay.
Yeah, against North Carolina, Dave Petromalo, the defensive coordinator for UNC, tried a little bit of a trick mirror defense. They zoned Duke to prevent McAdory coming downhill as an alley dodger. Duke would go behind the cage X, and then when the ball came back out up top, Carolina went to a man-to-man. And part of that, they wanted to take away McAdory dodging downhill.
Yeah, when he gets going full speed, like he is kind of the starter of Duke's offense.
Boy, they can't miss. That's Max Sloat. Ran right out of the box. It's 5-0 Duke, and Gary Gates got to think about a timeout.
Right now, Duke perfect at the face-off X. 2 violations from Syracuse, so the next one is a man-up opportunity for Duke. And oh, by the way, Duke scored on their last 5 shots. They're doing it at all levels of the offensive end, from the midfield, highlighted by Sloat's goal there, to McAdory behind the cage. The red shirt freshman, to his strong left hand, absolutely bombs one to the back of the cage. 5-0 Blue Devils.
What did we say at the top of the broadcast? When Duke plays at or near its best, there may not be a team in the country outside of maybe Notre Dame who can keep up with them.
Look, I think
and they've won every face-off, and Syracuse has not had an offensive possession.
And again, I think Notre Dame maybe has the advantage in the cage versus Duke, right? But they have a very good freshman goaltender. But yeah, I mean, Duke, if you look at, especially now, I love this McAdory back at attack. It's like, okay,
Yeah.
look. Imagine being the third defenseman who's used to guarding an off-ball person, now being like, wait a minute.
I got to match feet.
I've got to go feet for feet. Like, that's a challenge.
Denenza losing his man. Spins around back to X, snakes back. Now it's Zawada from up top. Crease, feed, doorstep, and in the crease, Dyson Williams. Maryland?
John Odierna said you guys have to play like ACC Lacrosse players. He's telling his Q's defense, 2 of their goals have come on the doorstep of our goal. You have to guard the ball better. Just go out there and play. We're not playing it that simple for Q's right now.
One area where Syracuse has taken a big stride forward this year has been on the defensive side. We've seen Billy Dwan emerge as an all-conference player. Getting Riley Figueres back from injury has been big. And obviously we know what they have in Will Mark.
Yeah, that's been a dramatic improvement for Syracuse this year. Just being able to match up feet for feet, playing good team defense. Again, Will Mark, not a great start here, but in my opinion, you know, probably goalie number 2 or number 3 in the country behind Entenmann and Carroll from Penn.
Maybe Frassion and Penn State.
Frassion's there as well. He can get hot too, right? Like he's someone who can have 20-plus saves.
In goal for Duke, it's the freshman Patrick Jamieson. He's put together an outstanding freshman season. Some at Duke have said he might be their best goalie since Dan Loftus. That was 15-plus seasons ago. Shot there, missed the cage by Sam English. First possession for the Syracuse offense.
Yeah, and we focus on Jamieson, right? Like, he's an interesting goalie because he doesn't move, right? We watched Entenmann earlier. He's going down, but his stick's coming up. Jamieson is just solid in the cage with his positioning.
Shot clock winding down. Duke's defense sprawling. It's vacuumed by Jamieson. This Duke team on the back end, their D-middies, their poles, and Jamieson in goal, underrated.
Oh, absolutely.
Transition opportunity for Zoli. Couldn't catch the pass from the wing, and it's a turnover, the second for Duke. Syracuse missing one of its LSMs. No Matt Wright, the UNC transfer, out today. Duke obviously without its face-off man, Jake Naso. It hasn't mattered. Cal Gerard has come in and gone 6 for 6.
Is that good?
That's good. Not quite Notre Dame man up good, but close. Actually better. There's Burt Whistle, part of the second midfield, which has been the most productive second midfield in the ACC this year. Burt Whistle, row up Stevens. And the Orange get on the board. It's Stevens, the Princeton transfer. This is a young Syracuse team compared to its 3 ACC peers here in Charlotte. They went and got experience in the portal. Stevens and Sam English from Princeton, they were key parts of a Final Four team 2 years ago.
Leadership can go a long way, right? But here again, this is Hiltz. We highlighted him in the open. His ability to carry with the ball on his stick this year has really impressed me, right? And more often than not, he's going to be shooting that shot himself, but his indoor prowess, his box across prowess allows him to throw great touch passes. Right there, the short pass is so challenging in lacrosse. You have to throw a lot softer than you think. And right there, Hiltz showing the beautiful hands on that pass to Stevens.
Hiltz in the first meeting against Duke had a hat trick. He's had some big games in conference. 8 points, then a win against Virginia. Again, Mullen taking the faceoffs for Syracuse. Here's Carter Rice. He's their top D midi, flag down. Free possession here for Syracuse. Penalty coming against Duke. Down the alley, shot altered. English digs it back out. Now Joey Spallina, Syracuse's leading scorer. Quickly to Hiltz. The ball can move at warp speed with this top six. Michael Leo, the sophomore. 7 multi-goal games this year. He's got the short stick matchup.
He is fun to watch, Leo.
Had some big goals too in his Syracuse career. Fakes the pass, toward the cage, tough angle, and Syracuse will go man up.
Leo incredibly skilled.
Number 2, slashing, 1 minute, 60 on the shot clock, please.
McAdory gets the laundry thrown for the slash on the ride. Again, I think Coach Janowski's probably okay with that. It was an effort play for McAdory. But again, now you get Syracuse on the man up. One of the most, probably the most fun man up to see or watch in the country. Lots of behind the back passing, in and out of sticks, lightning quick. No real set offense. It's more of like a triangle offense that you see in basketball. Just great understanding of spacing and rotation from this Orange offense.
They really channel the spirit of their head coach and how they play and move the ball. Stevens with his second. That did not take long.
Jake Stevens, always impressive when you put on the tape. He can go both ways. Play the wings, play defense, play offense, on the man up. A little hidden ball trick behind. Gets Duke guessing a little bit. Not your normal man up offense, but right there, Stevens takes the extra step to the middle of the field and just paints the corner. 2 straight for the transfer.
And it's the grad transfer from Lehigh, Christian Muley, who gets the assist. Two goals in less than 90 seconds. Gerard and Mullen tied up, and Gerard exits. Duke clearing the ball this season, 88%. Two straight goals by the Orange after Duke opened with a 5-goal avalanche. Charles Balsamo. O'Neal against Dwan. O'Neal's got 2 helpers. Skip pass, McAdory looking for the hat trick. Draws the slide. Balsamo got a good look, missed. Balsamo's got 6 straight games without a goal. Only 1 point in that span. Here comes Zawada. Pappendick. Back to X and Zawada. McAdory, good look from the wing. High over Wilmark.
Duke's offense zipping the ball around. Syracuse really having a tough time identifying who's playing attack, who's playing midfield. O'Neal, Zawada playing a lot of their time in this. Right here we see O'Neal top center. How do you scout that during the week? It throws your slide packages for a loop, and that's how you get McAdory wide open on the back end, because it's this new wrinkle offense that they're basically almost playing like an invert offense, which typically means you take the middies behind the cage. What they're doing is they're taking attackmen and playing them out of the midfield and initiating from that perspective.
And McAdory, incredibly comfortable at X. He played midfield as a freshman at Duke. He was an attackman last year, and he is feasting with 3 goals. First hat trick of the season, 11th of his career. Meanwhile, Gerard is perfect at the face-off X, I believe. Well, he's lost 1. So no Jake Naso, no problem. McAdory, O'Neal, Naso all played together in high school at St. Anthony's on Long Island. Now Ben Johnston, Duke's top incoming freshman. Here comes O'Neal, cranks, and scores off the bounce.
Brennan O'Neill operating up top, sweeping to his strong left hand. He's got a big windup on the release. You're going to see here, right, as he gets the pass from Johnson. A big release, but he's so big and physical and uses the turf right here. Look at this. He puts a little top spin. He turns that wrist over, and it then gets the ball to bounce through the top part of the cage. Will Mark. It's a tough shot, but usually one Will Mark is going to give you a better than not chance of making the save.
This wrinkle with McAdory back at attack, that's thrown Syracuse for a loop.
Look, I think it's going to throw everyone for a loop when you, if you do that and you zoom at it in the college landscape. There is no attack unit that presents that problem from a, like, usually it's, hey, we got two people can dodge and one's off ball. Not in this scenario.
All three can dodge. We saw Josh Sawada a few weeks ago beat Cole Kastner repeatedly.
Right. Which is easier said than done.
Here is Michael Leo, matched up by the shorty Caputo. Duke arguably has the best quartet of short stick D-middies in the country. Leo, question mark not there. Shot on the run by English, save Jamison. His first save of the game. Both goalies so far combined 2 for 11. Little two-man game, Spallina now. That's a tough matchup for him. No angle. Kenny Brower, one of the best in the country. Duke having issues with the clear. McGuire able to get it back. Gets whacked from the backside. Flag coming on Muley. Duke will go man up. Unsettled chance. McAdory, doorstep. One more from the wing. Wide. Oh, Brennan O'Neill doesn't miss that too often.
Listen to the foul here.
Red, 2, shrimp, 1 minute. 80.
And right here, you're going to see Muley. I think he's got a point. That looks, McGuire went to the turf on his own accord.
He sold it.
Maybe worth the challenge.
Seven goals already for Duke in the first quarter. They had 4 in the first meeting against Syracuse. O'Neill's got a goal and 2 assists. Dyson Williams trying to get free in the crease. He's in the landlocked navel of that Syracuse defense. There's Williams, and he somehow sneaks it through. 10th man-up goal of the season, which is tops in all of Division I. And Duke has come out with a sledgehammer.
Dyson Williams with his second goal of the game. Very dangerous on the low portion of that man-up set.
You know, Matt, so many times this season, the games where Duke has struggled, and that was man-up, so it's different. We just haven't seen this kind of ball movement. It's been a lot of dodge to score, dodge to shoot, unassisted goals. And that's not what we're seeing tonight. We're seeing team lacrosse with guys who can win their matchups.
They can win every matchup, right, when you look at it, and then the skill is there as well. Again, look, I don't think Duke's issue has been talent, skill.
It's not talent.
To me, it's been an energy thing, right? And again, like, more than anything else, getting McAdory at the attack. With his speed, it just picks up the tempo. It gets everyone else playing a little bit faster. And clearly, I don't think they're going to move back to him in the midfield based on the early success of that change.
Just the way their offense is moving, it's got a little caffeine to it. Burt Whistle with the shot that time. He's got 11 goals, had 2 against Duke back in March. Spinolina tight roping the end line against Brower. He's got to give it up. Now Muley. Muley from the alley, using the pick. Feeds the middle. Save Jamison. Now there is a creative freedom that Gary Gate encourages with this team. Spalina using the pick. Now he's got the short stick matchup, McGuire.
McGuire's just an absolute stud. I love watching him play. So physical, so athletic.
Spalina draws the slide. Ball's on the turf. And we get a whistle.
Loose ball procedure on Duke. Gives Syracuse possession, resets the shot clock to 60 seconds.
Hiltz, he's dangerous here from the wing with that through pass. Found a cutter. The cutter gets swarmed. And now here comes Duke. The Blue Devil Brigade. McAdory, first quarter hat trick. The 2-time All-American now picked up by Sam Alexo. He's one of Syracuse's top cover guys. He's an LSM. They've got Hiltz trapped on defense. Duke's got a pole on offense. And now Hiltz is going to run off. For a moment, Duke had a 6-on-5, but again, one of the 6 was a pole. Duke can hold for 1. McAdory isolates Alexo. McAdory using that speed and that shake. Feed in front, shot and a score. Boy, Andrew McAdory has been in the middle of it all. Finding Grant Mitchell for the dunk. That's a 4-point quarter.
The Duke coaching staff feeling pretty confident right now with the change that they made. Grant Mitchell, the recipient of the perfect touch pass. Again, Alexo, one of the best defensive players in the country, but he's been running out of the midfield, right? So you're not used to guarding behind the cage. The McAdory here with a nice change of direction. Again, it's this pass high and away, leading Mitchell into space.
New goalie for Syracuse, Jimmy McCool, sophomore from Boston, enters. Will Mark exits after giving up 9 goals. Still 10 seconds to go in the quarter. Gerard wins another faceoff. He's been dominant in place of Naso. Gerard turbos ahead, puts it on cage, hits the pipe, and they will wave off the Frizzoli shot as the horn sounds. Folks, if this is the Duke we're getting for the rest of May, look out.
Andrew McAdory, first game starting an attack in the season, putting it all together for this Duke Blue Devils offense. 9-2. What a performance.
I want to see this attack step up a little bit. McAdory has brought that juice.
Absolutely. I mean, it's been a game changer. He is the fastest player on this Duke offense. And so automatically he's going to speed it up. But on the flip side, I also think it doesn't change what Dyson Williams' role is, right? If anything, it's going to give him the opportunity to catch more in the interior and do what he does best. So I love the change for Duke. And again, no question in my opinion, do they now have an attack unit that has the 3 best Dodgers in the country as a unit.
You know, sometimes when you have so many great pieces, the challenge isn't just assembling and collecting them, it's putting that puzzle together. Johnston wheels down the alley. Now Zawada. Zawada against Figueres. No slide. They threw it away. Too much from Figueres, and I think he might get bailed out with a timeout. Now Gary Gate using a timeout.
John Danowski was a little concerned about leadership and energy coming into this one, but he's seen it from this sideline collectively. Dyson Williams, yes, Andrew McAdory, two of the guys really leading on the field and then carrying the energy off onto this sideline, which is exactly what the Blue Devils need.
Matt, what does Syracuse need here?
I mean, again, it's hard to play too fast, right? But I think they need a good offensive set. Do what they do best, which is ball movement.
Leo will draw a flag. They might get Henry Bard.
And look, Syracuse has got an opportunity. They just haven't had the ball, right? Like we said that earlier when Virginia was playing Notre Dame early on. Like, hey, Notre Dame had the ball. Syracuse didn't touch the ball until they were down 5-0 offensively.
Black, 5/1 minute. Shot clock's at 60.
That blew out a couple of speakers at home.
My ear. But again, I think this is a Syracuse team. This is a young team. It's probably not a bad experience for them to have some things not go their way early on, and can they learn from it and make adjustments? Look, this is a Duke team that lost to North Carolina last week, right? Look.
Yeah, this was a Syracuse team that took a big step this year. Year 3 under Gary Gate, 3-1 in an ACC filled with heavyweights. Man-up chance here. Spallina to Burt Whistle, who led the nation in man-up goals last year. Finn Thompson has been shooting it well of late, and that will stay with the Cuse. Leo closest to the ball when it went out. 32 on the extra man. Finn Thompson, 3 man-up goals this season. Closed the year with 4 straight multi-goal games. Hilt's a dangerous feeder and finisher on the extra man. Thompson, there's the behind-the-back pass. Stevens tries to thread it. It's tipped by Jake Wilson. 8 seconds left on the extra man. Hiltz to trigger. Spallina operates from up top. Hiltz to the wing. And the low to high. Too high from Leo. Thompson digs it out. All the way to the pylon, Matt. Back to even strength. Spallina toward the cage, going low. 5-hole on Jamison, and it's 9-3. Joey Spallina. His numbers through 2 seasons, I want to make this clear, I'm not comparing the players because you played against him, but his numbers from his freshman and his sophomore year compare very favorably to Mike Powell.
He's an incredibly talented player, right? I don't think he's the athlete that Mike Powell was. Very few people are as skilled as Mike Powell is, but again, for the pressure he had on his shoulders since he stepped on campus, I think he's done a remarkable job stepping up and really becoming the centerpiece of this Syracuse offense. Right there, he does a nice job recognizing the lack of a handoff from Duke defensively, and he got his hands free. Low angle shot, just went hard low to low.
And I think it's important to note, that's not a slight on Joey Spallina. To me, he's a high IQ lacrosse player who fits this offense extremely well because it's an offense Whereas if you have a Virginia with a Schellenberger and Cormier, Duke with all its weapons, Notre Dame with the Kavanaughs, as Cohn's got a chance here in transition. We'll hold that thought. This is where Syracuse can get back into the game. Their face-off and their transition offense, as good as you'll find in Division I.
Starts with a face-off, getting that possession. Cohn with his 7th goal of the season. Just a nice job here, again, on the wings, getting this extra possession. Eyes up, right, looking down the field. English, an amazing athlete, finds Cohn. And he takes it to the heart of the Duke defense to get 2 goals within 14 seconds. Again, this Syracuse team, their ability to go from defense to offense with English and Stevens, to me, is what's been key to their success throughout the year.
A big ground ball here off the face-off. Duke has it. Tyler Carpenter. Now, he's been a ground ball suction in his Duke career. Yeah, one of the things Syracuse has done too, Sam Alexo, who normally plays LSM. Duke made the move to put McAdory at X. Syracuse is now countered by bumping Alexo down.
And Syracuse, Alexo very comfortable behind the cage, right? But personally, I think it's easier to be an offensive player, go from playing above the goal to behind it, than it is from being a long stick midi to going to play close defense. I think that's a harder transition.
Pappendick against Carter Rice. Now McAdory matched by Alexo. Here's Balsamo. O'Neal. Working on Dewan. Spins it back. Sloat can't handle it. It's scooped up by the Orange. And they give it right back. Pappendick near the equator. He lost it. Spallina wants it. Unsettled chance. Here comes Stevens. Feeds the wing. Back to Spallina. Duke gets back. Good transition defense by the Blue Devils.
Good transition defense from the Blue Devils. An awesome sequence for Syracuse in the middle of the field, getting that possession.
Stevens has a matchup against Pappendick. Swims by him and scores. A hat trick for Jake Stevens.
Three straight for the Orange. Jake Stevens with his 16th goal of the season. I really feel this offense is at its best when he initiates, particularly when he's guarded by a short stick. Just incredibly quick. Amazing footwork here. Watch him drop his stick low, right, and gets his hands free. Pappendick doesn't get to engage. And you see this little shoulder motion, right? He is dipping his shoulder, dropping his head. Jamison in cage matches, and he's able to get to the far post to the top portion. It's the subtle things that you just come to appreciate the more you watch these players, on how much they work on the slight deception.
Did you just call him a subversive Canadian? Let's check in with Marilyn Payne.
Syracuse had a meeting earlier this week with a team psychologist, and Joey Spallina said that part of the focus on staying loose as they head into the postseason is playing loose. They need to avoid kind of crumbling under pressure of being in a tournament situation here. Spallina setting the tone a little bit with the goal to set off the run here, and you see that on this Orange sideline. They are having more fun.
Every time I hear teammates with sports psychologist, I'm reminded of that scene in The Natural. Losing is a disease. Spallina looking for Muley. He's doubled. Loose ball. Syracuse picks it up. Still plenty of time to shoot. Now Leo. Flag down. These man-up chances inviting Syracuse to cut into the deficit. Hiltz maneuvering the crease. Lost his man. Leo has it go off the stick. Weston 10 to shoot. Alley dodge English. Poked away. There's McGuire. Jamison shovels it out of bounds. We get a penalty. Now, this game for a moment looked like it may go the way of Notre Dame, Virginia. The tenor has changed.
Black, number 11, cross check, 1 minute, full time.
Wow. So Keith Boyer will serve a non-releasable penalty. Syracuse will have the extra man for the duration of the whole minute.
And you're seeing this more in college lacrosse as the pick has become, quite frankly, like the fire starter for almost every offensive situation.
And how many times have we seen Owen Hiltz facilitate with those through passes that has Duke concerned? Stevens 3 goals in this first half. Hiltz over to Stevens. Finn Thompson. Now Spolina. Duke packed in tight. Hiltz eyes up. Jamison in the passing lane. Duke had 15 shots in the opening quarter. Halfway through quarter number 2, 0 shots.
Basically been polar opposites, right? Like they haven't had the ball. This is really their first offensive possession here in the second quarter. That's just the best part about lacrosse, right? Like how that can just flip, right? We're face-off after face-off after face-off, so coming up the Blue Devils' way. Not so much here in the second quarter. That's why Syracuse has been able to creep back into this one.
That's what I love the face-off for that reason. The game is never truly over. If you're down, it allows you to come back.
It's the most unique part of our sport.
I agree.
Now, could you make it where you move the wings a little bit more so you can't have such a dominant face-off? I guess my point to this is recruit a face-off person every year. Have multiple people. Be able to throw different people out to disrupt someone in their rhythm.
O'Neal, face dodge. He's got Kakemo on him. Behind the back shot off the post. Shot clock reset. Also, can we do the face-off guys a solid by not changing the rules every 5 minutes?
That's the third save tonight off amazing behind-the-back shots that we've seen.
Jimmy McCool with the shorts in goal for Syracuse took over in the opening quarter for Will Mark, who gave up 9 goals. Denenza, Turbines. Ball on the ground. Got 1 black shirt, 3 orange shirts. And we're going to get a loose ball hold on Syracuse. Duke ball. Shot clock reverts to 60.
McCool and Cage is a bigger body, but he reminds me a lot of Rode from Virginia, who graduated in 21, right? And what I mean by he gets his hands really close together. Most goalies like to have a little bit more space, but McCool, his posture, his hands, very, very close together, which is pretty unique for a goaltender.
He is a lefty. What's the reasoning behind that?
My guess is that he thinks he can get the explosion with that top hand a little bit more, and he's going to, I think, probably use his body a little bit more low, but up top likes to have his hands together so he can explode a little bit more.
Here comes Dwan. Boy, he's been a weapon in transition this year. 7 goals. And another whistle, a flag.
While Syracuse had possession in his cross, Black number 11, offsides, 30 seconds.
That's another penalty on Boyer, his second tonight. Yeah, Duke was rolling. They were up 5-0, 9-2 after one. And these penalties have invited Syracuse back into the game.
The penalties, a little momentum for Syracuse at the face-off X. Syracuse battling on those 50-50s a bit more, right? The loose balls are coming up a little bit more orange than early on in the game. Look, the way you slow down an offense that was cooking like Duke's in that first quarter is to have possession time and time and time again. And Syracuse has made a nice adjustment there.
Yeah, if you watched the first game, after the first quarter, that's what Lars Tiffany told Marilyn Payne. We need the ball. Didn't have the ball. Finn Thompson, doorstep denial. Tipped out by Duke. Syracuse ball.
And that was a hell of a save from Jamison and Cage. Finn Thompson is patient as anyone inside, and Jamison, again, he's very quiet with his movements.
Spolina to boat whistle, another save by the freshman Patrick Jamison. He came into this game, Jamison did, giving up 9.5 goals per game, the best of any ACC goalie.
And look, I think if you're a goalie who uses his body a lot, is kind of up and down, they're flopping, they're staying high, there's gonna be days where they have off games. The way Jamison plays, it's just so sound fundamentally. I don't think you're ever gonna have that game where, like, should we pull him, should we not pull him? Like, he's just not gonna present that opportunity because his fundamentals are so good and so sound, versus a player like Mark, right, who's not in the game anymore, who is one of the best goalies in the country, but is a bit more active in cage. And if it gets away from you, you start second-guessing yourself.
There's Max Sloat. Now, this league is chock full of quality goaltenders. Entenmann, Jamison, Mark, Nunes, Colin Krieg at North Carolina. Look at the shake, the bake, and the finish. Andrew McAdory, give him 4 on the evening.
Borderline unguardable. At this point, again, like, this isn't something Syracuse is expecting to happen in their week of preparation. McAdory here, look at the quickness and the face dodge. And then the perfect release to the far post. Schmidt, again, a long stick midi playing behind the cage. Not able to match McAdory's explosiveness.
It took a stick and the helmet, too. He does a little bit of everything. His background is unique. He has box skills. He's played on Native American reservations. In high school, when his team needed it, he took face-offs.
In high school, when you're the best athlete on the field, you can do a lot of things. But he's just fun to watch. And again, I understand why Duke moved him to the midfield, to give kind of senior or more mentorship to the 2 freshmen. But now it gets clear, a much harder matchup behind the cage than him running out of the box.
O'Neal has been quiet in the second quarter. Denenza down the alley, McCool scoops it. English wants it. They find him. English turbos ahead. Over to Spolina, bang!
This offensive possession starts with McCool and Cage for Syracuse. Tracks that shot the entire way, maintains possession. Then again, the Syracuse team in transition, because they have players like Sam English, can create and generate so much offense. And Spolina here does a nice job. Again, I think good deception on that release The accuracy, picture perfect. I think he gave a little hip action like he was going to bring it up to the top portion of the cage. And Jamison never able to track it.
Mason Cone, Division III Face-Off Man of the Year at Tufts last year. Grew up playing hockey and lacrosse and played both sports at Tufts. This past year was the first time in his career he focused solely on lacrosse, and all he did was win 60% of his face-offs in the toughest league in Division I.
Pretty good transition.
Yeah, not too bad. Michael Leo. Syracuse has been getting some good looks in the second quarter.
Man, Kenny Brower's head got a good look right there. Wow. He took that shot right off the helmet. It popped his chin strap off. His helmet didn't come off, so he was able to stay in the game.
Samo, do you want to?
Brower against Spolina. Now Brower not yielding it in. Spolina tries to shovel to Leo. It goes to Duke. O'Neal.
And it's just not a matchup if I'm Syracuse. Spolina's a heck of a player, but Brower, one of, if not the best, one-on-one cover men in the country. Who's a tough matchup for Spolina? If Spolina can get his physicalness as an advantage, he's very, very dangerous. He's not going to do that against Brower. He's too strong. He's too physically fit. His body position's too good. I'd love to see Syracuse create more from Stevens and English, Finn Thompson, to at least initiate their offense.
Spolina, in the 3 games this year against Duke, Virginia, and Notre Dame, only had 1 goal and 2 assists. Balsamo has the short stick matchup. Now he's picked up by Alexo. Little 2-man game behind with McAdory. Balsamo gets it to McAdory. Figueres picks him up quickly. Shot clock down to 12. Balsamo looking for a cutting Zawada. O'Neal picks it out of the air. O'Neal fires and scores! Oh, folks, sometimes there's no defense for greatness.
An unfortunate bounce for Duke, but what's so amazing about this play for Brennan O'Neal is his composure, right? So he's right here. We're gonna see the pass, good defense. Now the ball's up in the air, and okay, most people are taking this shot, and he right there is patient, takes a shot after the whistle, or excuse me, after the goal. Could have been a flag on Syracuse. We hope O'Neal's okay. He's grabbing his shoulder a bit after this goal, but again, just
he absorbs that hit from Jake Spolina.
The awareness is unreal. The patience.
And again, we're showing it to you in slow-mo. You watch that happen in real time.
Right.
It felt as if he was playing in slow motion. And when he's at his best, you were one of the great players. The game slows down. You see it happening before your eyes.
I mean, the greats are able to play fast with a slow mind, right? And right there was a perfect example of it. His body was running 100 miles an hour, but at no point did his brain get ahead of himself. Very few people have that ability, particularly when you're dodging.
Career goal number 199 for O'Neal. Spolina wanted a penalty.
He should have gotten one, too.
O'Neal's now tied with Max Quinzani for 3rd all-time on Duke's career goals list. 1 away from 200. Burt Whistle. That's a shot. It stays with Syracuse. Down 5, 14 seconds to go. First half. Muley against Caputo. Can't turn the corner. Another penalty on Duke. Off the scramble, roll up. Time expires. Multiple flags down. Syracuse will begin the 3rd quarter man up.
The half is over. Black, number 6, hold 30 seconds. With the flag down to no possession, it will be Syracuse ball in the alley down over here, 30-second foul.
So no face-off to begin the third quarter. And Syracuse will have the ball. Here's another look. Physical game so far, Matt.
Yeah, it's after the first few minutes where Duke came out on fire, I think it's been a pretty even matchup. But right there, Caputo with the hold and the lift gets the flag down. Syracuse will start the second half on the man up. Joey Spallina trying his best to get Syracuse Orange back in this matchup, but Brennan O'Neill has the Blue Devils up 11-6 here in Charlotte.
Well, for Syracuse, they begin the third quarter with the extra man, so no face-off. Syracuse will start with the ball. Now, this Orange team has not been blown out this season. You look at all their losses. Maryland in overtime, Army in overtime, Cornell in overtime, and by 2 to Notre Dame. Hiltz plays catch. Stevens, he's got a first-half hat trick. And Syracuse capitalizes. Spallina right off the wing. He came into the game with 5 EMO goals. That's his 3rd goal, period, today. It's 11-7.
All of Spallina's goals off of ball movement here. And again, what we love about this is his acumen and knowing how to mix up his shot. The last goal he had, same spot in the field. He dropped it 3/4 and went low to the far post. This time, again, drops it 3/4, but pulls it high near side. So giving Jamison all kinds of things to think about in cage as his deception and release points on cue.
And the faceoff won by Mason Cone. Cal Gerard has been taking the faceoffs for Duke. Jake Naso, an All-American faceoff man, out for the ACC tournament for the Blue Devils. Lower body injury. And Duke wants to be cautious. Notre Dame won earlier today, a win that could very likely secure the #1 overall seed for the Fighting Irish. The winner of this game might be in line for that 2 seed. English with Spallina to back up.
That was awesome to watch for English. He had McGuire from Duke completely confused and lost and got his hands free for a pretty nice opportunity. I mean, his speed is otherworldly.
The ball movement by Syracuse, but Jamison picks it up. They're not going to wow you with their individual dodging. We've said it, as a cohesive whole, they can spin the ball with the best of them.
Yeah, I think Stevens and English are probably their best offensive dodging threats. And then the others are just, again, the others I say can beat you, but it's usually off of ball movement. It's not, hey, off the dead ball whistle on the end line, hey, I'm dodging, what are you gonna do about it? I think English and Stevens are those 2 players for them. But again, what's just magic about them is their off-ball spacing and their stick work and really playing as a unit offensively.
I've had a number of coaches tell me this year their offense is the hardest to game plan for and to match up for. Hard to game plan and match up against number 34. Another goal for O'Neill, the bicentennial man, number 200 in his career.
Just a nice individual take here from O'Neill. Again, he's gonna run off a pick. And right here you can see Dwan goes over the top, but he gets his hands free. And again, I can't overemphasize your player's ability to shoot on the run high with enough pace changes everything. That's how you go from good to great as an on-the-run shooter from above the cage.
O'Neill today with a hat trick. He also has 2 assists. He is 2 assists now away from 200 career goals, 100 assists. The only other players in Division I to do that, Chris Gray, Justin Gutterding, and Logan Wisnauskas. Gray's the all-time leading point scorer. Gutterding is third all-time now in goals behind Peyton Cormier, who passed him today. And Wisnauskas, a national champion and Tewaaraton winner. There's Stevens. Anvils down the alley. Jamison says no.
And I like that take from Stevens. I think he had enough separation there where he actually could have planted his feet prior to running on an angle as he kind of kept pressing down towards the far post.
Stevens against Tomas Delgado. Now here comes the help. Stevens maneuvers, kicks it back. Hot shot from Roa. Hisses high. Burt Whistle matched by Charlie O'Connor. Burt Whistle, a weapon from the outside. Jamison read that all the way.
Duke will take that all day. Burt Whistle turning back to his left hand. Jamison's too sound in cage for that to be the opportunity.
8 saves for the freshman. Jimmy McCool, the sophomore from Boston, in goal for Syracuse, came in for Will Mark, who gave up 9 goals in the opening quarter. Now O'Neal sledgehammers through the defense. 4 for O'Neal, and he has been unleashed tonight.
Brennan O'Neal with 4 goals in the contest, most of them above the cage, sweeping to the left. That one there, just the patient gather of that loose ball. And again, right here, just getting to his strong hand and changing it up. His last couple to the top portion of the cage there, sidearm to the low. Far post. 4 goals and 2 assists.
All 4 goals for O'Neal unassisted. Here's Gerard over to McAdory. Over the last 2 years, 70% of O'Neal's goals have been unassisted. Little 2-man game with O'Neal and Zawada. Zawada shaded by Figueres. The former Michigan Wolverine, who played at the Hill Academy for Brody Merrill, grew up in Raleigh, went to a lot of Duke games growing up. Denenza, that's a save by McCool. Loose in front, big ground ball. The Orange come up with it, it's Dwan. 7 goals on the season for Dwan. Chooses discretion over valor. Ooh, English with a rocket. And Syracuse has the backup. It's Joey Spallina. Six-goal lead for Duke. Winner faces Notre Dame in Sunday's ACC Tournament Championship. If it's Duke, it'll be the second meeting this season. And a rematch of last year's national championship. Bounce shot with little on it. An easy save for the freshman Jamison.
And if Duke holds on to win here.
Denenza has a matchup here, Matt, against Hiltz. That gave Hiltz a chance to run off. Late sub by Syracuse. Duke had numbers for a moment.
So what you like to see Denenza do in that situation is drag the ball down away from the midfield line, not allowing Hiltz to sub through the midfield line and not lose an advantage because they're able to get back in time. But if Duke holds on to win this game, Notre Dame, we think #1 seed. Duke probably #2 seed, right? At that point, so you've got the true matchup of the 2 favorites at this point to take it all home.
O'Neal, a man possessed today. Save McCool. Rebound, score. Dyson Williams, so good around the crease. That's 3 for Dyson. He's up to 198 career goals.
Dyson Williams running out of the midfield, yet still has the hat trick here. O'Neal, again, all game, been being aggressive, taking it to the cage. The first matchup against Syracuse didn't produce much. Tonight, different story. And again, Dyson Williams coming out of the midfield, we were talking about this earlier, in the World Games, he was dodging a little bit, right? So he has it in him, and if he's gonna get a short stick matchup, I think Duke wouldn't be opposed to him initiating some offense, right? He's one of the best players in the world.
It was one of the things that stunned us in San Diego at first glance. Heavy hits, bodies flying, so do the flags. Well, we saw Dyson Williams score goals off a dodge in San Diego. It's been chippy tonight. It's been physical tonight.
It's going to be like 3 or 2, I assume, right?
Orange, 35, illegal body check, contact to the head, 1 minute, full time.
So 1 minute means it was not a direct hit, it was indirect, but to the head. And this Duke man-up unit now with a non-releasable penalty. Matt, we've seen that called 2 minutes plus.
I also think you could see it not called.
Yeah, we've seen that too.
Like, he's a much taller player, and so like he led with his shoulders. Again, I just think it's in college lacrosse. The big hit's not worth it. It's especially now with the unreleasable component to these penalties. You want your team to be physical, but it's not worth it.
That's going to go to Syracuse. They say McCool. Seven-goal lead for Duke.
Syracuse needs to get some things going here. Great composure from the Orange there in the clear. Duke doing a nice job creating congestion towards the midline. And Syracuse was patient and deliberate to earn possession.
They'll wait until this man-up expires. Duke opened this game on a 9-0 run, or a 5-0 run, outscoring Syracuse 9-2 in the first quarter. English cutting, spun around. Thompson threads it into Spolina. Tries to shake Bauer, gives it up to Muley. And now he's picked up by Broward. Shot clock down to 6. Down to 5. Spolina against the shorty Caputo. There's the slide. Shot deflected. Shot clock violation. It never hit the goalie.
Syracuse having a tough time offensively, making this Duke defense feel threatened, right? When do we start sliding? We saw that in the game earlier. Virginia didn't know when to slide, not to slide. And Duke, knowing they had those matchups, just shutting Syracuse down as Duke on the offensive end feeds another one to Dyson Williams on the back post.
And that is 4 now for Williams. O'Neal has 4. McAdory has 4. The attack's woken up.
Yeah, Duke came to play today. Just picture perfect offense, great spacing, Duke on another level. No, it's a scary thing.
Steven Schmidt scoops up the ground ball.
And by the way, like, I think there's an argument to be said that like Sawada may have been their best attackman for most of the year. You know, so now look, I do think McAdory going into the attack will maybe impact Sawada's production a little bit more because only so many people can carry the ball. But overall, the matchup nightmare it creates, very much worth it for the Blue Devils.
Flag down.
Flag 2-3/1 minute.
McGuire to the penalty bin.
Take a look here. Call the slash there. Syracuse 2 for 5. Tonight on the man up. Right about its season average.
Hiltz to Stevens' great look. Spallina digs it out. Joey Spallina, ACC assist leader. Syracuse probing the perimeter. Thompson over to Hiltz. Snuffed out by Jamison. "11 saves for Patrick Jamison, freshman out of Pennsylvania. Tomas Delgado, freshman from Connecticut, top 10 recruit.
You think about the goalies this year, most of the elite ones are seniors. Coming into next year, where do you rank Jamison? Right? Like, is he at the top in terms of, you know, the improvement you know you're going to get from first to second year and what he's shown about how good he is right now?
He'll be, if he's not at the top, he'll be near the top. He and Matthew Nunes, the only starting goalies in the ACC to come back. Feet in front, Sloat whiffs. Dyson Williams, oh, that would have been fun. Williams just such a smooth operator, that Canadian in those tight spaces.
Yeah, typically incredibly efficient near the goal. That one looked a little awkward. I was a little surprised. Dyson Williams usually makes those finishes, the backhands, look super easy.
Duke has outscored Syracuse 4-1 in this third quarter.
And that first goal, right? I mean,
English coughs it up.
Syracuse started on the man up, got that goal, got it within reach, but Duke showing the energy today.
Carpenter bounces it over the net. Now, we have seen versions of Notre Dame and Duke today that look like teams who play on the last Monday of May.
It's the tough part about Duke. Like Notre Dame, you know you're going to get the best effort every time, right? For Duke, they've shown that that may not be the case, but doesn't really matter because when they show up, which you think they will in the tournament, they're as good as anybody.
McAdory gets topside. Pure blinding speed and a flag at the end of the play. Late hit. 5 goals for Andrew McAdory, a season high.
And Duke putting together a full game. It's awesome when you see great defensive plays.
After the play is over, Orange 11, this late. 1 minute, there is no face-off. It'll be Duke ball.
It's great to see defensive plays right here. Again, McGuire with a great check. The clean capture by Carpenter. And then they push an offense. And one thing that has proven to be true today is that Syracuse cannot keep up with Andrew McAdory behind the cage. Right here, you see the late hit. After the fact, Duke starts with possession. This is as good as I've seen Andrew McAdory play. Last year, we saw a lot of him attacking. He was very, very good. He's proven a point tonight.
And he's brought some energy and some caffeine to this attack line.
Well, let me ask you this, like you were watching this game, right? Like points galore from all. Who's been the most impressive offensive player?
It's been McAdory.
And that's no slight to anybody else, but like what he's doing with the ball in his stick, dodging, creating, and starting the offense.
He's winning matchups at will. Zawada near the crease. It gets past Denenza.
Start it. 14 seconds came off. Would you please put 38 seconds on the shot clock, please? 38 seconds, please. 38.
Shot clock timing issue. Matt, how about this from McAdory's third grade team? Ready for this? Andrew McAdory, Brennan O'Neill, Joey Spallina, and Xavier Arline of Navy. One of those guys gets a short stick.
Can't imagine they lost too many games.
No.
But Aiden Denenza was on that team too. Almost the entire Duke roster probably played, as they do have a propensity and a love for taking players from the island.
Yeah, especially St. Anthony's. O'Neill to Zawada, back to even strength. Shot clock down to 10. This attack did very little in the first meeting against Syracuse. They have dominated tonight. McCool makes the save.
Don't shoot the ball behind the back tonight. These have all been great shots. He got an amazing amount of power on that, but the one the goalies are seeing the most clearly are the ones that are coming from the most deceptive release point all night.
Michael Leo wheels down the alley. Spallina wants no part of Brower. Muley. Hiltz has been quiet today. English kick save Jamison. Off the ground, Duke and McGuire. We come up on a minute to play in a third quarter where it's been Duke domination. And Duke can hold for one if it wants. McAdory's got 5 with a quarter to play. O'Neill's got 4. Dyson Williams has 4. 13 of the 16 Duke goals coming from those 3. And that was the wrinkle tonight. McAdory at attack. Duke has done it without its starting faceoff man, Jake Naso, out with a lower body injury. He'll miss the Sunday game should Duke hold on and get there as well. Mitchell maneuvering behind the cage. Now Duke getting some subs in. This is Reed Landon. Shot clock into single digits. Time about to expire. Flag down as the quarter ends.
fouls in the play, both against Orange. Orange 77, offsides, 30 seconds. Orange 48, interference, 30 seconds. There'll be no face-off. It'll be Duke ball with a shot clock at 60. End of the quarter.
That's the safe bet, right? I think it's kind of the consensus that he has the biggest body to create a long career in professional lacrosse, right? Schellenberger's not small by any means, but could get beat up, and then Kavanaugh just plays like a crazy person, running himself into trouble and just being as tough as he is. Like, you get maybe worried that like the risk to him is that he could get banged up a bit more.
6-on-4 for Duke to begin this fourth. Ooh, rocket by Denenza. The helmet came off for Tommy Drago, so he's got to come off. One of the unique wrinkles for Syracuse, their man-down defense, it's wholesale change. They have a group dedicated just to play man-down the Junkyard Dogs.
I love that. That's great. Gives different players an opportunity to find playing time.
It's kind of like a goon line in hockey.
Right. This is great. I think I think maybe they're lucky to be able to do that, to have enough depth. Like, can you keep that going? Is that going to be the case year after year after year? I don't know. But I certainly love it today, and I think it's, more importantly, it's just great for team morale. The more players that play, the happier your team's going to be.
There's O'Neal. Syracuse gets 2 back, 6-on-6. Six-point evening for Brendan O'Neal. He's got a short stick, Carter Rice. Plays it up top to McAdory. Spins to Denenza, who ran with the first midfield tonight. Zawada. And with the shot clock running down, Denenza forfeits the possession. What sort of statement tonight? Well, let's see what happens here. Zawada streaking to the cage. And transition, Josh Zawada. It started with Denenza on the ride. Zawada finishes. Duke up by 10. I was going to ask you, the statement made tonight by both Duke and Notre Dame.
Impressive, right? Again, like, Notre Dame, what they did, right? Like, to me, what was impressive about them was, like, the domination from an athletic perspective. Duke, what I loved is domination from an adjustment perspective, right? And showing up with energy and just showing you that, like, when they're ready to play, like, they have a short memory. They're like Ted Lasso said, like a goldfish, right? Like, they lost to North Carolina, who was the worst team in the ACC last week. Does it look like that was the case, right? They could care less.
Not only did they lose to Carolina last week, it was a Carolina team without Owen Duffy, without Paul Barton. The Schwartz twins were out. You're down 3-4 starters,
right,
and you go and beat Duke, and Carolina didn't have as, yeah, they're playing for their playoff lives, but it was a long shot to begin with.
And look, kudos to Coach Bresci for North Carolina, right? Like, that team never gave up. Right? They really weren't playing for much, but to me, it shows the respect and the coaching.
Well, it's still Duke Carolina.
Sure, for sure. But again, like, seasons can get away from you, and oftentimes that happens in your record, but oftentimes it happens and reflects in your effort. And North Carolina fought hard all year long, and to end off in a win against Duke means a lot.
English gets one back for Syracuse.
But Syracuse tonight ran up against a Duke team that was just focused and playing at a different level.
Was scheduling a part of this for Syracuse? They had last week off. Coming into this weekend, coming into today, they had played 2 games in the last 30 days this time of year. It's only 2 games over a month.
Could have something to do with it. I also think losing 6 straight faceoffs to start the game and Duke just absolutely coming on fire, probably more to do with it.
Joey Spolina tonight has 3 goals. He's up to 79 points on the season. Needs one more point to become the first 80-point scorer at Syracuse since Kevin Rice in 2015. Right down the alley and a goal for the Orange. That's Luke Roa, part of a productive second midfield. You go back over the last decade plus since Syracuse joined the ACC. Been a lot of memorable moments between these two programs.
Yeah, these are obviously two of the marquee programs in college lacrosse. Luke Roa, the sophomore from the Washington, D.C. area, as a righty and a lefty of players you'll find in college lacrosse. Tends to drop his hands when he shoots, but there he shows the ability to go high to low on the run to get two straight for the Orange.
Now, the one thing Syracuse has with Mullen and Cone, they can play make and take at lacrosse, and Mullen got a good look there. Now, the Kevin Rice mention brought me back 2014. Syracuse's first ACC tournament game against Duke. They're down late in the game. They scored 2 goals in the final 20 seconds, including Kevin Rice finding Dylan Donahue right at the buzzer to beat Duke. And then 2015, they played a thrilling 1-goal ACC championship game. Won by Syracuse. Syracuse won in 2016 in the ACC championship over Duke. ACC tournament back for the first time since 2019. No AQ, and no one really on the bubble of these 4 teams. But we pointed out in the first game, seeding matters. If you're a 1 seed, a 1 seed's never lost in round 1 since the tournament expanded in '03. A 1 seed has made it to championship weekend in 19 of the last 20 NCAA tournaments. 2 seed in that span, 10 out of 20. Big collision, middle of the field. They let him play. Duke's got it. And with an 8-goal lead and knowing Syracuse's ability at the face-off X, I think Duke puts on the brakes here.
Yeah, no reason for them to push tempo here.
Max Sloat gets topside. The redshirt freshman who a year ago broke his wrist against Syracuse and ended his season. He's come through with a solid redshirt freshman campaign. Young man out of California where he played for former Tewaaraton winner and your old teammate Chris Fratelli.
Yeah, just a big, strong athlete. 6'3", 220 pounds, predominantly left-handed. Has been running with the first midfield almost all year, but tonight, with some of the technical adjustments that they've made with McAdory and Denenza coming in out of the second midfield, and he's finding more favorable matchups with a nice take.
And give Matt Danowski and this Duke offense a lot of credit. The loss to North Carolina woke them up. They went back to the drawing board at different wrinkles, and it's paid off in a big way. This was a Syracuse team. 3 of its 4 losses came by 1 goal, and in overtime, the other by 2 to Notre Dame. We haven't seen anybody do this to Syracuse this season. Last couple of years, maybe. Not this year.
Think about that too, right? The Cornell game
should have had it.
Should have won that. Maryland game, they scored a goal in overtime that was taken off the board. Maybe the right call, maybe not, right? So, like, this is a Syracuse team that honestly could have been the number 2 ranked team in the country coming into this.
The Army game in overtime, they had a chance on an empty net.
Yeah. Now that Army loss looks a little worse now, but that's that Army team that was playing early in the season, right? They got ranked number 1 at one point. I mean, they were playing great lacrosse and kind of struggled down.
Army losing to BU today in the Patriot League semis. Well, the drama come Selection Sunday appears to be, once the dust settles and we know who the bid thieves are, potentially Michigan, we'll see what happens in the Ivy. You start to paint the picture, the top 4 or 5 seeds, Matt. I think Notre Dame's got the 1 seed locked up. Some combination of Duke, Syracuse, Johns Hopkins, and I put Penn State in there. That's probably your top 5, right?
If Penn State wins the Big Ten, I think they're top 5 seed.
And then those last 3 seeds, 6 through 8, or however it shakes out, Virginia's in the mix, Maryland is in the mix, Denver's in the mix. Potentially the Ivy League champion. That's where it gets interesting.
Again, Princeton wins the IB, right? They're not top 8 seeded, or are they? Right?
They've been playing well down the stretch, but again, what is the committee value? 4 different committee members this year. Last year, it almost seemed like it was RPI, RPI, RPI. The top 8 in the RPI were all seeded. It wasn't a clean 1 through 8, but those were the 8 seeded teams. Penn is leading Cornell. Princeton beat Yale earlier today.
Again, so Penn, they win, right? They have a win over Duke, which will be one of the best wins in the country. Right, at least teams in the playoffs.
How many times have we seen that? Joey Spallina, his 4th goal. He posts up, he goes behind the back. His 80th point of the season. First Syracuse player to crack the 80-point mark in almost a decade. Kevin Rice again, 2015, had 84 points.
And Spallina's just a tough dodger. Again, this is against Kenny Brower. Just a nice job positioning, but this is his move, right? His ability to get to that space. He's hard to push off. He hasn't had as much success this year with that move as people have started to scout him. But are you kidding me with this right here? Look, high, behind the back to the far post. That's pretty spectacular right there from Spallina with 80 points in the season. A heck of a sophomore campaign.
Maryland Payne.
Joey Spallina today promised he was trying to score behind the back. He said we got to change up our angles on our goals against Jamison, and when we know Duke's goalie is as good as he is. So that one he can check the box for the comeback, we'll have to see.
Minutes to go. Selection Sunday is this Sunday. The women's tournament special, 9 o'clock. The men's selection show follows at 9:30, both on ESPN2. Somebody should do it behind the scenes. How will Chris Cotter, Quentin Kasnick, and Paul Carcaterra get from Ithaca to Bristol, Connecticut? They've got a 1 o'clock Ivy League championship game on Sunday, and then they've got, you figure that game ends by 3. You're out of Sholkop Field 3:30-ish. So that gives you, well, you want to probably get there at least by 8:30, get a chance to get situated, look at the bracket, get settled in. So you got about 5 hours to get to Bristol.
Could be the first ever selection show from a moving car.
We have the technology to do that.
I could see Clark pulling that off while driving.
Oh, yeah.
He's built for this.
Would have to drive. I mean, I'm told they were offered a car service, and Clark said, no, I'll make sure we get there.
Clark can cut hair and drive a car at the same time.
Cut hair, drive a car. He can talk his way out of a ticket.
He can host a studio show.
There's DeWan. 8th goal of the season for the sophomore Billy DeWan, whose dad was a legend, 3-time All-American defenseman at Johns Hopkins and a long-time assistant under Dave Petromala at Johns Hopkins.
Looked pretty comfortable in there with that finish. The goal he had against Virginia a couple weeks ago at the biggest moment of the game was incredible, but here, a nice job, just a simple cut with the long stick and the smooth bouncer to the top portion of the cage. Cuse still fighting.
Last year, the top 8 in the RPI, ignore the polls, the RPI all hosted a first-round game. This is what the current RPI top 8 looks like entering tonight. Notre Dame 1, Duke 2, Hopkins, Syracuse, Virginia, Penn State, Denver, and Maryland both dropped after losing in their conference tournaments last night. Penn State still plays Michigan, a chance to win a Big Ten championship. They've got a chance to move up. Virginia lost earlier tonight. Syracuse down by 7 with 6.5 to go. Hopkins lost to Michigan. Michigan lurks as a bid thief. And certainly, so does Villanova in the Big East. Syracuse turns it over. Georgetown's an interesting one. If Georgetown were to lose in the Big East Championship, are they out, or they have the Notre Dame win, which is
the best win
of anyone?
I mean, the Ivy League, I mean, there could be thieves there too. Penn, Princeton, I mean.
Notre Dame beat Virginia today handily. Irish handing Virginia its worst loss of the season. Duke flashing championship caliber dominance against Syracuse. So we're tracking for Duke and Notre Dame in the ACC Championship Sunday. And the question, Matt Ward, is this part 2 of 3?
Seems likely.
They were the last 2 standing the season ago. Save McCool. Shot clock reset. And Duke will bleed some more clock. Syracuse will almost certainly host a first-round game. And it's been a minute since they've been in the NCAA tournament. Missed it the last few years. Hard to fathom, Matt, they have not won an NCAA tournament game since 2017. We're talking about a program that at one point used to take its team picture on championship weekend for 2 decades.
Consistent. I think this may be the most competitive first-round games we may have seen in a long time. I don't think any of the seeds are going to look in their matchups and feel like maybe Notre Dame, right, if they're the 1 seed, and maybe Duke, but like 3 through 8, there's not much difference between them and those teams and the teams they're going to be playing.
Offsides against Syracuse. I'm with you. Imagine if you're a first-round host. Do you want to see a John Tillman coached Maryland team come to your house? Do you want to see C.J. Kirsten Cornell?
Cornell lost to Notre Dame by 1, and honestly, they could have won that game, right? So it's like,
do you want to see Denver, who had a couple of big wins early in the year, knocked off Johns Hopkins?
Again, Virginia, but not today, but if they had played Notre Dame close like they had a week ago, no one would want to play them in that first round or see them as an 8 seed.
That might be one team where you want that matchup because they are wounded right now. They're searching.
For sure. Yep.
They've lost 4 in a row.
And again, I think they're wounded more like psyche-wise than they are, physically. Right? They're searching for an identity that they thought they had found early on in the year.
McAdory off the side of the net. We come up on 2 minutes to play. Duke and Notre Dame will meet in the ACC championship game on Sunday. They played last year in the national championship. They played once in the regular season this year. A 15-12 Notre Dame win on the 7th of April. Brennan O'Neill in that game, 2 for 12 shooting.
And to me, for Brennan O'Neill, there's going to be off shooting nights. It's the games where he doesn't force the issue. He doesn't attack the middle of the field. And there hasn't been a lot of these games, by the way, but there have been a few that have stood out. And when that happens, it's a very different Duke team. I think the McAdory move changes a lot of that. Because if Brennan may not have the opportunity to win his matchup, McAdory will.
Will it matter against Notre Dame, which is indifferent to it matchups?
Not as much. Right, and again, look, that's a Notre Dame team that feels pretty comfortable with how equal their defensive talent is. Right, so they'll switch.
McAdory almost got one more. What about this? There's a good chance Notre Dame's already locked in the 1 seed. There's a good chance Duke may have locked in the 2 seed with this win. Doesn't matter what happens on Sunday.
Duke's last ACC title, 2012. I know
they've won 2 national titles after that.
Well, again, it's just funny how you kind of look at things, right? It's like the Virginia-Duke matchup. UVA's won more national championships since that, right? It's funny to look at that and think, but again, I imagine you're going to see both these teams bring their A game.
Look at Duke still playing. Carter Rice. I didn't expect this today, Matt. I didn't expect 2 blowouts. One more for Luke Roa. I think we expected the unexpected. Any of these 4 teams we thought had a shot going in.
But again, I think Syracuse leaves this game, right? They're not going to get the W. Maybe not demoralized like I think Virginia may be feeling right now based on these outcomes.
Yeah, Syracuse is a team in the regular season. They beat Virginia. They did beat Duke in the regular season. Stevens gets his 4th. That's just bookkeeping with 1.8 left. It's been a bounce-back year for the bluest of blue bloods in this sport. We saw Johns Hopkins take a big leap last year, getting to the quarterfinals. Played Notre Dame tough before falling to the eventual champion. Coming into the year, we wondered, Syracuse and Johns Hopkins, are they back? I think they've answered that question. Outcomes of today and yesterday being what they are, their full body of work speaks for itself.
Great regular seasons.
Final whistle sounds. Duke in convincing fashion Notre Dame earlier today in convincing fashion. The ACC championship picks up where we left off last season with Duke and Notre Dame in Sunday's ACC title game. It'll be Duke and Notre Dame. We'll see you Sunday at noon on the ACC network from the Queen City of Charlotte, North Carolina. We say goodnight. Up next, it's All Access ACC Life.